what I'm going to do is, it's official. It's headlining the Showtime card, October the 14th, 2017, in the Barclays Center, September the 5th right now. The press conference for this fight is actually tomorrow, September the 6th, and I'm going to be there. So hopefully we're going to get a chance to talk to Erislandy Lara, current WBA Super World Champion, 154 pounds, and Terrell Gausha. My name is Terrell. I'm TstreeT Controversy. This is TstreeT Controversy Live. I cover every single major fight live. And yes, we will be covering this event live from the Barclays Center October the 14th. So, in the meantime, I want you to look at this. Then we're going to talk about it all. Please subscribe.
Friday afternoon with Gausha. I brought up a fight that he had earlier in his career against William Waters. It was early in his career, 4-rounder. Got knocked down the first round, but then was able.
Oh, big hand by Hernandez. Overhand right, and he catches Gausha and he floors him. 6, 7, 8. Terrell Gausha stunned here in the 3rd round. So here comes Luis Hernandez now.
As he was saying, as he was talking about the last Olympic run, one got caught with the same punch. An overhand right. You know, Hernandez is going to work. Gotta be careful though. A minute 40 left.
Now, that's all we're going to watch of that. Now, what people are going to talk about is they're going to talk about that right there. You know what they're going to say? Why is Erislandy Lara fighting this guy? This guy's getting knocked down by bums. I'm not saying it. That's what the people are saying. Don't shoot the messenger. So let's go look at his resume real quick. Let's go take a little look at it. All right. He's 20-0 with 9 KOs, 29 years old, 5'10" from Cleveland, Ohio. His last fight was early this year, PBC on Bounce. Now, I've seen him fight before. And before that, he fought out last August against Steven Martinez. Now, this Steven Martinez fight, I forgot where this fight was televised, but it's on YouTube. You'll be able to watch it yourself. Some people say he's even lost this fight. So, he got knocked down in this fight. A lot of people felt he may have lost this fight, and now he's fighting Erislandy Lara. Now, Terrell Gausha is not going to get no shit because realistically he's ranked, you know, so you can't be mad at him. It's Erislandy Lara. Now let's go look at Erislandy Lara's resume. Now, don't shoot the messenger before a guy who talks as much as he hasn't been talking that much over the last several months. But there was at one point in time that he couldn't keep Golovkin's name out of his mouth, and his manager, and before I leave this video, I'm going to try to pull up where his manager stated that no, we're not, you know, basically we're going to rule 154 and then move up to 160 to fight Golovkin. But the point I'm trying to make is he just was talking shit and had no intentions on fighting Golovkin. It's just that a lot of these boxers know that if they say certain shit, the fans are going to ride with them if they don't research. But until he moves to 160 pounds officially, Golovkin did not duck him. I don't know why people just keep throwing Golovkin's name, you know, under the bus. I'm not saying he's perfect, but it's just certain situations where people just keep throwing his name out there, you know, and making him seem like the bad guy when realistically these guys are just throwing his name out there just to get some buzz. So Erislandy Lara is now 34 years old. He has been around for a long time. The guy's on Fight Night 3 and 4, right? Fight Night 3 and champion, right? He's been around. We need a new Fight Night game too. He's been around for a long time, yo. Now, when you look at his 2 defeats and his 2 losses, well, let's look at his recent resume, and this may amaze you. The fact that he hasn't literally did anything since fighting Canelo Alvarez. And he's not going to ever get that rematch again. Not because of him. I'm sure Golden Boy will make sure they keep his ass away from Canelo. And plus, Lara, you know, is just not there financially. You know, this is not me. I'm saying, like, they're not going to risk fighting Erislandy Lara again. You know, so let's go look at his resume, right? He fought Yuri Foreman earlier this year, right? A guy who he should not have been in a ring against. And just so happened, this was the last episode of PBC on Spike. I really miss PBC on Spike. Rematch with Venus Martirosyan that came 2 years late. Jan Zavek, this guy fought Andre Berto years back. Delvin Rodriguez, Ishe Smith, and then Canelo. The Canelo fight was over 3 years ago, ladies and gentlemen. Over 3 years ago. And if you look at his inactivity so far, you know, he's had what? This one fight in 2016. And then if you look at his 2017 activity, right? And then people ask the question, well, you know, why is he not fighting? Why is he not fighting? Hold on. What am I doing? What am I doing? Over here, my bad. Why is he not fighting? Guys, excuse me. There we go. Why is he not fighting guys like Jermell Charlo, who's fighting Erickson Lubin on the same card? Well, the reason why he can't fight Jermell Charlo is because Erickson Lubin is the mandatory. But truth be told, from what we know, a unification trumps the mandatory. And if I'm correct, and I'll make sure I know by tomorrow, I should know this already by now, but I'm human. And even when I interviewed them both for Try To, it's on the channel, I got them both confused. Even though Jamal is the physically, you look at him, he's the bigger one. But I get confused. Lara and Jamal have the same trainer in Ronnie Shields, not Lara and Jermell. So both of these guys are fighting on the same card, right? Both of these guys are fighting on the same card, but not fighting each other. Then you have Hurd versus Trout. These are all 154 pounders. And you wonder, what is the plan for Erislandy Lara? Now, Demetrius Andrade was just talking about, in fact, while I'm here, I might as well just play it. Demetrius Andrade was just talking about recently at Berto versus Porter about how the WBA wasn't going to order the Lara fight until, you know, pretty much. Here we go. Here we go. I'm gonna play it for y'all. Hold on. Give me 1 minute. Give me 1 minute. Give me 1 minute. Still learning this. I'm still learning it.
We answered this already, but when you back, man?
We're working on it, man. We're trying to see what fish we can get. You know, we got some lines out there. And we're willing to see which one wants to tangle. It takes two, man. Unfortunately, I can't just be in there shadow boxing. I look good shadow boxing, but you know, it takes two to see the man really in action.
Is it going to be who fans want it to be? You know who they want it to be?
No, of course not. Of course not. I mean, I don't know. Like, honestly, I think Laura's getting old, man. Like, I think that Lara Demetrius thing is kind of like dying out, because it's like, why did we have to wait, right, for September, supposed to be our scheduled mandatory date to start negotiating for 90 days to put a fight together when I've been out since March, he's been out since around that time. It's like, we could have been for today. Like, what are we waiting for? So, boys are 35 years old with a cane like, hey, son, how you doing? It's pretty good over there. Yeah.
Okay, so basically what he was saying was that the WBA had ordered him and Lara to start negotiating this month in September. So Erislandy Lara's fighting Terrell Gausha, so I'm guessing that the WBA is going to order him and Andrade to fight sometime at the end of this month, and then they have to negotiate to fight at the end of this year. Or will he go the route of fighting either Charlo, you know, the winner of Charlo Lubin, or the winner of Hurd Trout? And then you have Andrade, who's talking about fighting David Lemieux, but Andrade can't unify with either Hurd or Trout, the winner of that, or Charlo or Lubin, because he has the underling belt to Erislandy Lara. So for those who don't know, the WBA has two titles. It's the WBA World and the and the WBA Super World. Now, when you're the WBA World Champion, you're the underling title. The Super World, truth be told, the WBA
Go chase something that's
the WBA is all fucked up, you know, because from my understanding, from reading the rules and regulations of the WBA, Lara shouldn't be Super World Champion because he's not a unified champion, but the WBA plays by their own rules. So what we're going to do is we're going to go look at the rankings real quick of the WBA, and we're going to talk about how Terrell Gausha got the nod. But it's not that he's not deserving, because he is ranked, and he is a young fighter, and he's still undefeated, even though he has a controversial decision, you know, on his resume. But many are like, yo, well, Lara could have fought, you know, way better competition, you know? And you have to think, is it Lara not fighting, you know, not picking these guys to fight? Or is it Al Heyman keeping these guys away from Lara, or whatever the case may be? It's just not looking good. Now, the good thing about, you know, as I said, Terrell Gausha, is that he's undefeated, and we're going to make sure we talk to him tomorrow, you know, to see, like, what he can do differently. Like, what can he do to beat Erislandy Lara, you know? Like, what can he do that nobody else, was able to do. Is this it? No, right here. Let me zoom in. So here are the rankings for the WBA, or the 154-pound division. You see Erislandy Lara right here, WBA Super World Champion. You see Demetrius Andrade, WBA World. Now, when you're a champion, right, you have to fight somebody ranked in the top 15. As you can see, who in this top 15 would you want to see? And remember, a lot of these guys, for example, Erickson Lubin is fighting Jamel Charlo. You have Jack Couquet, who fought Demetrius Andrade, lost. Demetrius Andrade didn't look that good. And then just look at these names. It was either going to be Terrell Gausha or Justin Deloche. Any of these other names, even Wilkie Camford, any of these other names, Lara's going to get shit for anyway. So you have to ask yourself the question, then, why not Jarrett Swift Hurd? Because Jarrett Swift Hurd is still a relatively new champion. And looking at the mannerisms of Al Heyman, the way he's handled his fighters over the years, a lot of times when his young fighters win a title, he like to get them a fight that they can somewhat win first, not throwing Austin Trout under the bus, but that's usually what he does. And then when you look at, a lot of people are saying, well, Erickson Lubin is getting, pushed up real quick. Is it too soon for him to be fighting Jamel Charlo? But then you think, well, what about Erislandy Lara? If they're doing this to Lubin and doing this to Austin Trout and Jarrett Hurd, then why couldn't Erislandy Lara fight any of these other guys? You see what I'm saying? And you might as well count Miguel Cotto out, because Miguel Cotto was not going to fight Erislandy Lara. You might as well just count him out. You might as well just count any of these WBO ranked fighters out. That's just the way it is. So Lara's in a situation where he has to now unify this division and be more active. I'm talking about as a champion. Champions being active, fight 2 times a year. And if you look at this year is going to consist of him fighting Terrell Gausha and Yuri Foreman. Then you look at last year, that was Jan Zavek. So that's his last 2 years of activity. So it's like this. At this point in time, it's like, he's got to unify or go to 160 and put his name in the hat to get Golovkin. But it's not going to be easy. Or maybe try to go after Billy Joe, maybe. But then again, that's the WBO. And Heyman just has shown that, with Austin Trout still in the WBO, you just don't know, man. You just don't know. So, there's so much to talk about, because we still got so much to learn. The fight is going to be on October the 14th over on Showtime. It's going to be in the Barclays Center. I'm going to be there. And for the hardcore fans, this is really, really a good card. I'm excited about the card because, for one, you have all these, young fighters. And then you had Hurd versus Trout. And then you have, this is kind of like a career crossroads fight for, Austin Trout. And then you have Charlo versus Lubin, 2 young, undefeated 154-pounders. And a lot of people feel that Lubin is being pushed forward, too soon, but it's like, he's ranked, and years ago, well, we're going to wait for the Charlo Lubin video before, I get real in detail to that. So as far as Terrell Gausha is concerned, it's like this, right? Undefeated fighters, they do have a chance, but it looks like Lara is just, from watching his fights and, especially his last 2 fights have had some controversy as far as, he got the knockdown and people are going to bring that up. They're going to be like, well, they're already bringing it up already. People have been going and researching his fights. They're like, Erislandy Lara fighting who? Let me go see who this dude is. And then they were like, oh, he's a bum. And I'm like, well, not really. But I don't think he has what it takes to be Erislandy Lara. But it's not I'm not supposed to give my opinion. My job is to report the goddamn news. So it's going to be interesting. I'm going to make sure to try to talk to Terrell Gausha, and also, even though there's the language barrier, obviously he's going to have a translator. We got to talk to Erislandy Lara tomorrow. We got to talk to him and see what's up with this. What's the path, bro? The people have questions. They want to know what's the path. They're getting frustrated with you. It's been 3 years since you fought Canelo. 3 years. I'm TstreeT Controversy. This is TstreeT Controversy Live. I cover every single major fight live. Please subscribe. All the links to my social media are right down below in the description box. Also, we are looking for help. You will be compensated based on your skills. You can't just come and ask what the pay is and all kind of, shit like that when you haven't done nothing. But we need help covering fights. If you want to cover a fight once a year, if you want to cover a fight once a month, I got you. You got to have somewhat of an open availability, because this press conference tomorrow is going to be like 12 in the afternoon on the East Coast. You know, so you can't just think you're going to just not cover the press events and go to the fight. That just don't make sense. But if you're interested in covering fights, you know, holla at me. Email me at editor. That's EDITOR at FightView360.com. Then what you have to do is you have to let me know your name, obviously, your location, you know, if you have any social media and any type of skills you may have. And also, you know, it's best don't be a casual boxing fan. You got to know the sport, because the whole goal is for us to get to these events and ask the questions that the people want to know, the questions that we want to know, you know. Please subscribe. I'm TstreeT Controversy. This is TstreeT Controversy Live.